Hi, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. There's a lot of information that I want to share, and I thought that better than writing an email or even a phone call would be to kind of put all my information out on the table so that we can move forward, because time is actually really growing short, and I know everybody's really very busy, so I'm going to try to take advantage of the technology here to put my vision out in front of you guys, okay? So this message is going to Beverly and Maurice and Reverend McCatherine. And it's been a few days since we talked, and I know Maurice and Beverly, you had a show on Saturday. I hope it went well. The weather, I'm sure you've got a story there, but I'm also recording the screen here, and what I need to do is, just for your information, I've been really very busy. I've produced 3 or 4 short videos. One is something called Flint Story. I'm really excited about it. It's about a shoemaker named Timothy, and you'll get a chance to look at that, and I'd like to do your Flint story as well. I mean, Flint Story is intended to, the format goes like this. I kind of stumbled on it, and it just makes sense. When you watch the video, you will see that it starts with a picture of the skyline, and then we come closer with each shot to Timothy, then we dissolve to Timothy talking quietly about how it is he gets to do what he's doing. And that's kind of the question I'd like to ask anybody, and I would ask of you. And, you know, Maurice, how did you get to do what it is you do, you know? And answer that. And it's in a quiet setting, and we have time to become a little reflective, you know, and insightful. And the point is that you model how other people in the community might see things differently, because you do, and I want to, and you, I mean the generic you, the Flint you. That's why they're called. That's why the channel is the Flint Story, and the word plays on history. And actually, I thought of Michael Jackson when they came up with the history. Became his story, and that's where I come up with Flint Story. You know, it's a story and it's history, but it's the history of Flint in the 21st century, and that's kind of a difference about the Flint stories. And I want to give voice to the people in Flint who have no voice. And we started with Timothy because that's the way it worked out. And I came upon the format. So to finish my format comment to you, let me start again. Music. I like the theme. It's smart. It's cool, and smart. And it's not from any kind of particular. It is classical, but it's updated. So it's a bending of formats in that style of that music, and I'm going to keep it. Because it gives me a chance to pop up the name of today's story, of today's Flint story, on a particular note, and it's a nice intro, so I'm going to keep that. And so we go from the skyline, dissolve to wherever you might be. If it's Maurice and Beverly, we're in your studio. If it's Reverend Catherine, we might be in your office or some other setting that's quiet, though, is the point. We want quiet. I don't want distractions. I don't want to be in the middle of the busyness, because that's the next part. Then we go to the busyness, but that way we've had a chance to have a setup a little bit. And like with Timothy, you'll see you go through what it is he does to make a pair of shoes, and etc., etc. So what I want to share with you today, and I've also been busy, I've also put in 8 hours with lawn care, and I'm meeting with a group with Tommy McDaniel and a young woman who's I think she's in the sociology department at Flint U of M. We're going to meet on Wednesday on Skype, doing like this, and then on Thursday with the young people, I'm working with a bunch of 9th graders on the east side, doing the yard work first, and on Thursday, I'm going to have a chance to introduce some of my game activities with them. As well will this young woman, Erica, present interviewing ideas, and we're going to go on the east side and capture people's stories. How about that, huh? And I'd like to invite you to come to the session on Thursday, maybe. I haven't checked with the other people, but you know, this is the kind of thing we all need to know. So there's no competition. There's also Neighborhoods Without Borders meets on Thursday at 9 a.m. and then we're meeting that evening because we're meeting with young people who want to put on a youth fair, for lack of a better word at the moment, on August 9 and 10 on the campus at Flint UM. And I would like to suggest that these activities, my storytelling and capturing with the young people on the east side and the youth thing on the 8, 9, and 10 in August, and a concert with Maurice and Beverly right there. I want to go over this grant with you because time is short. It's got to be in July 1st, and I haven't looked at my calendar, but today is June the 18th, so do the math. 10 days is the 28th, and I think 2 more days, so 12 days or so, you know, less than 2 weeks to get this figured out. And so I would like to go through it with you now, and I'll show you on the screen when we go, so I'll just look at this here now. Of course, it comes from the Community Foundation of Greater Flint. And here's their statement. We envision that the Neighborhood Small Grants Program will serve as one of many key resources to help residents realize their vision for neighborhoods. We invite you to submit a proposal by completing the application attached and submitting it to this address no later than 5 p.m. Monday, July the 1st, 2013. Now, let me go through what the thoughts are behind the grant so that we're on the same page. The Neighborhood Small Grants Program seeks to fund projects that meet at least one of the following priorities. I will say the priorities and then I'll go into them. One of the following priorities. 1, strengthening neighborhood groups and organizations by. The next one is creating safe environments by. The third of 4 is improving neighborhood conditions by. And creating opportunities for neighbors to, etc. So I'll go back to number 1, strengthening neighborhood groups and organizations by increasing and expanding involvement in neighborhood groups of residents of all ages, increasing resident involvement in planning and implementing strategies designed to benefit their neighborhood, improving the skills necessary to define and resolve pressing neighborhood issues. Well, right there. To me, the concert day is supposed to be a day that we've all built to, and we have people from other parts of Flint and from the immediate community who have been perhaps making things and or providing some services of some sort. And the idea to me is to have a concert, and while we talked about having things all along the boulevard and stuff, if I had my way about it, I'd like to focus on a small area right now with something that's around the periphery, and maybe next year expand it big. Can we maybe think about focusing everything into a pinpoint just for now, just so we can see if we can do it before we go spreading ourselves all around, is my first thought. And this first section of increasing and expanding involvement in neighborhood groups and residents of all ages has to do with that moment that we're drawing everybody out and the time we had been already taking to put cameras in the hands of some of the local people and getting their stories, making these Flint stories and using those as a platform to build to the August concert, which could coincide with the youth fair or not. It could complement it. It could be the following weekend. The second grouping here is to create safe environments by motivating residents to come together to design and implement activities that improve neighborhood safety, stimulating interaction between youth and adults in the neighborhood involving residents and neighborhood institutions such as community schools, crime watches, block clubs, etc. I would like to focus, if we can, on not the problems but the possibilities. I'd like to find the kinds of words that include possibility and interaction, sure, but instead of looking for crime, finding an energy that you'll fight crime when you get people busy is my thinking here. Okay, I don't have to go over these. You can see them for yourself. But as I go to the next page, you can see here that it has general information. Please type or print and have them back no later than July the 1st at 5 p.m. The group name. I don't think we have a group name. The concert for Civic Park. Group mailing address, I would say, would be Beverly Maurice. Contact person should be me, and Beverly, I would suggest off the top of my head, because I think it's she and I who have been kind of sort of originally putting our heads together on this. The amount requested, you can ask up to $1,000, and I suggest we do that because I think it's important that Beverly and Maurice not have to pay to do this. Breaking even, I'm pretty sure you're going to say, is where you're at. I'm going to assume that's what you're thinking as well, and people are donating the time. But, you know, if you have to create expenses by however expenses are created for you, you should be compensated. And, well, let's go on to the next page. Organization information. What are the neighborhood boundaries? That's going to be easy to do. When did your group form? Well, we're forming right now, but maybe we can, that's where the Reverend you come in, perhaps. You could be the sponsoring organization that's established in the community. What types of neighborhood activities has your group been involved with in the past 12 months? Reverend, I guess we're going to depend on you a little bit for that too. And so, what is the name of the bank that holds your group's account? And once again, that's why we need Reverend McCathern. And obviously all of your input. I'm just saying that as the structure goes, who's playing what part, I guess, in that sense, and this is why we need you. On the next page, project information. Which funding category below does your project best fit? Strengthening neighborhood groups, improving neighborhood conditions, creating safe neighborhood environments, creating opportunities for neighbors. Personally, I think creating opportunities for neighbors and strengthening neighborhood groups go hand in hand. Well, they all go hand in hand. I mean, all four of them go together. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that, won't we? Priority will be given to projects that do at least one of the following. Assist new neighborhood groups become involved in community efforts. Involve and engage neighborhood residents. Bingo. Build on or expand previously funded projects. Describe your project. Please tell us about the activities of the project, who will organize it, when it will begin and end. The activities of the project, in my mind, will be communicating with people in the community to inform them of the date of the concert, and that they have that much time to come up with something at which they can participate in a market day. That's what I want to see. I want to see the people in the community have encouragement and gain awareness and confidence that describe your project. Please tell us about the activities of the project. I see the project this way. There's a culmination point, but there's a before period and an after period. The before period is Beverly, Maurice, Tom, Reverend McCathern, and anybody else who joins the effort to convey to the community that this event is going to take place, and that between now, when we're talking about it, and the event itself, is the time to prepare ourselves, to have conversations that involve working together perhaps to create a product or a service that we can offer that day of the concert. Tables should be arranged. There should be literally, I'd like to see markets with rows, as many as possible, and so that means perhaps tables, and getting the tables there might be an expense. I'm now just thinking we have to provide that stuff, and literally build a market and celebrate that market with the concert. That's what I want to see happen. Who will organize it? You and me. When will it begin and end? It will begin, the preparation will begin as soon as we can get started, and so that would be as soon as they tell us we've got the grant money, and then the concert itself and the materials that it will take in preparation, perhaps some printed materials that can be given out to encourage people to think A and B and C, whatever that might mean, in terms of thinking about asking questions, perhaps. But what kind of skills and abilities have you acquired over your time, and how can we perhaps put people together? And then that would also mean that the follow-up would involve trying to find a way to bring this market back again and again and again and again. Is this request for a project previously funded? No, this is brand new. If yes, describe what changes you'll make. How will your neighborhood be different after your project is completed? The neighborhood will have a sense that they can create their own economy. Which neighborhood organizations outside of your group do you plan to work with, and what are they contributing? Outside of your group. I guess I'm outside of your group, Reverend, and I'm joining you and Maurice and Beverly. I don't know. Project budget. How much do you expect your project to cost? How much of the cost of the project do you expect to receive from the following sources? Grant funds, other cash, membership dues, cash donations from businesses, individuals, organizations, other sources. I don't know. In-kind donations. I certainly will provide my time and my camera and my software editing and my internet placement on the wikis. That's my offering. And I'll need money for gas. I'll tell you that right now in my automobile. Gasoline. I don't need anything else unless I make copies of things, but that's included in the materials. Okay, how do you plan to spend the funds that you raise? And that is this page right here, and it's grant funds. So the tables and getting tables transported from somewhere and the expense of moving them on a vehicle or vehicles. That's my first hint of expense. Reimbursing Maurice and Beverly for expenses they have to incur to do this. Let's see. Look at this page, okay? Let's go over that. And the commitment. This is the last page, and I'm going to close this soon here with the commitment. What are your group's next steps after the project is completed? Well, I want to see a market that actually takes root in the Civic Park neighborhood and another market on the east side, well, all through Flint. And time banks. We need to talk about the time bank conversation and the community conversation by Peter Block, and how people gather. When we gather for community, we gather in small groups. 6 to 12 are great numbers of people to make things happen. And you sit in a circle, without a table, preferably. I imagine old images of Native Americans and African tribes where everybody sat in a circle. There's a reason for that. Everybody sits at the same level. Suddenly chief comes to my mind, a head. They're maybe a little, with something behind them to indicate that they have a position of power. But I think we've put a whole lot of faith in and I don't mean anybody individually, but the concept of leaders and getting things done for us. It's just not working. We have to sit at the same level in circles and talk about the assets we possess, the things that we immediately have control over. In my case, that would be I have immediate control over handling a camera and taking a picture and editing it and posting it onto the internet. Another thing I have immediate control over is teaching someone how to juggle and making juggling balls, and I can teach you how to juggle. I have immediate control over those things. Getting people to talk about those things they have immediate control over and talking about what we're going to do with those things over the next 30 days. Well, first we're going to say, what can we do together? Then what should we do together? And then we're going to ask ourselves, what will we do together? And that's when the assets that we control come into play. And we get the conversation started in the neighborhoods about those things. Those assets we have immediate control over, asking ourselves, what could we do together? what should we do together, and what will we do together. And everything happens, there's a plan called strategic doing. It's not strategic planning, it's strategic doing. We offer the assets we have immediate control over, and we move forward. And we understand funding this proposal will commit our organization to complete the activities described in the proposal, engage actively other appropriate parties, of course, engage in project evaluation, yes, of course, share activities and lessons learned with other neighborhoods, absolutely, and plan for continuing the effort after funds are spent, absolutely. And I want to see Maurice and Beverly's establishment become a community center, as well as Joy Tabernacle a community center, as well as it already is. Of course, you have your problems, Reverend, with the facility, and that's maybe something that, you know, well, it is. It's a part of everything, isn't it? So I want to close down and encourage you. This has gone far longer than I expected it to, so I'm going to have to try to whittle it down, I think, for time. But to get you to understand that we need to move on this, and there's no time to waste. And I've been very busy doing things, and I haven't been able to get to you. I've put out a newsletter for the Neighborhood Roundtable as well. I just got it done last night at 4:45, and I worked on it all day and Sunday, and you know, every day there's a project, and I love this, and I want to keep at it, but I also now want to jumpstart what we're doing, because either we're going to get this done or we're not. I've been telling a lot of people I want to see this happen, so I kind of been putting myself out there, so I'm sending you this video and hoping that it will inspire us all to want to try to get together soon and see this all happen. Okay? Thanks. I've got to close now and put this together. It's now 6:15 in the morning. I've been up since 3 a.m. because I can't sleep when my mind gets thinking about this stuff. I even put on a shirt and tried to do a weight with my tired face, and I hope to hear from you soon. See ya. Bye.